Hey everyone, and welcome back to Exposed, Scandalous Files of the Elite. I'm your host, Jim Chapman, and today I have another shocking and trending story I am bringing to you, and it's a little bit different. This one does not involve Hollywood movie stars, police officers, teachers, or even politicians. This one involves a 17-year-old high school student with a major problem and a justice system that failed his victims in the process, in my opinion. And that may have enabled this young man to continue with what is, in my opinion and view, a very sick illness. So I'm going to take you to Stillwater, Oklahoma for this story. And Stillwater is a rather large city. It's in the state of Oklahoma. As a matter of fact, the 10th largest city in that entire state. It's located in north central Oklahoma. And they have around 60,000 people living in Stillwater. And a little fun fact, Will Rogers is from Stillwater, Oklahoma. And the city, in comparison to many other cities its size, would really be considered, I guess, relatively quiet for 60,000 people. It is a college town. Oklahoma State University is in that city, but not as many problems as you see in a lot of college cities, like Baton Rouge, for example, with LSU. You know, they got their share of crime in that city. But Stillwater, Oklahoma, relatively quiet. That is until March 4th of 2025. That's right. Just a few months ago, there was an arrest affidavit that was signed, and subsequently the Stillwater Police Department arrested and charged a 17-year-old student at the time with 10, that's right, 10 rape-related charges, including domestic assault, battery by strangulation, attempted first-degree rape, rape by instrumentation, and violation of a protective order. Now, this student's name is Jessie Butler. So let's get into what happened. And as I like to do here on Exposed, when I have the paperwork available, I like to go straight to the documents and read those to you so that you have context for all of this that is accurate. So in this case, I do have the arrest warrant right here, and this is how it reads, and it's dated March 4th of 2025, and there's actually two victims. The first victim is referred to as LS, and it says, I, Detective Rachel Bruce, is a CLEAT certified police officer employed by the Stillwater Police Department. Detective Rachel Bruce has conducted an investigation, and based on the knowledge gained from that investigation of the circumstances, it appears as follows. And look, before I go any further, I do have to say trigger warning for those that may be triggered. You know, the subjects we're talking about here is rape related. So if that's something that triggers you, you're not going to want to listen to this, but here we go. On September 12th of 2024 at approximately 13:22 hours, 1:22 p.m., Stillwater Public School Police School Resource Officer Paul Blankenship took a report from a student concerning allegations of domestic assault and battery by strangulation, sexual battery, rape by instrumentation, sodomy, attempted first-degree rape, and kidnapping. The victim, a juvenile female identified as LS, was in a dating relationship with the suspect, Jessie Mack Butler. LS reported that the relationship with Butler began in late January of 2024 and ended in early March of 2024. During their relationship, LS reported Butler often physically and sexually assaulted her. LS provided a written statement to SRO Blankenship concerning that incident that occurred in which Butler sexually battered her and attempted to rape her inside a vehicle outside of a marble slab creamery. She also detailed an incident that occurred inside her vehicle in the Hampton Inn and Suites. Following the initial report, I was assigned as the investigator to follow up on the case. So on September 20th of 2024, LS participated in a forensic interview in Stillwater, Oklahoma. During that forensic interview, LS disclosed the following events. February 2nd of 2024, Butler parked his vehicle on the north side of Marble Slab Creamery. Following an OSU home wrestling duel they attended together. Instead of getting ice cream, which is what he initially told LS they were going to do, he forcefully removed her clothing, aggressively pinned her down, sat on top of her, touched her breast, bit and sucked on her chest, and inserted his fingers into her vagina and against her will. Butler also attempted to have sexual intercourse with her in her vehicle. LS reported she yelled and told him no repeatedly and tried to push him off of her, but was unable to overpower him. LS reported Butler told her he was sorry for what he was about to do, but that he had to do it. LS recalled hyperventilating because Butler intended to have sex with her and she did not want to. Before Butler could put his penis inside of her, an unidentified woman walked up to the vehicle and interrupted him. LS believed the woman heard her yelling, crying, and saying no from outside of the vehicle. LS detailed how this event derailed his plan to have sex with her. After this occurred, Butler drove away from the area, told LS to stay down, and warned her if the police came, they would both be in trouble. Butler returned to his home where LS' vehicle was located. Once there, they remained in the Butler's pickup where he tried again to have sexual intercourse with LS. LS told Butler she needed to get home, but Butler pulled her on top of him and told her, quote, "You're not going until I'm finished," unquote. Butler removed LS' body back and forth on top of his with their clothing on. Butler told LS, quote, "I want to have sex with you," but she refused and said she did not want to. LS was able to get out of Butler's vehicle and get into her own vehicle and leave. Butler got into LS' vehicle with her and continued to try to get her to have sexual intercourse with him. LS reported Butler told her, "I want to be inside you. I want you." LS described Butler putting his hands all over her body, specifically between her legs and her chest, and he grabbed her by the neck. LS stated Butler often pulled her hair during these incidents. LS reported Butler did eventually get out of her vehicle and she was able to go home. Early in February of 2024, Butler and LS were parked outside of Planet Fitness inside her vehicle. Butler exposed his penis to her and told her to perform oral sex on him. LS refused by saying no and that she wanted to go home. Butler forced LS' head and mouth onto his penis by grabbing the back of her head and her hair and forcing her down. LS began crying when he did this. While this was occurring, Butler's mother called. Butler told LS to be quiet and not say anything or he would hurt her. Following the phone call, LS stated she complied with Butler out of fear of what he would do if she did not. LS performed oral sex on Butler until he told her to stop and ejaculated. After that occurred, Butler exited her vehicle and they both left the parking lot. Early in February of 2024, Butler and LS were at Butler's family home in an upstairs movie room when Butler pinned LS down on the couch by sitting on top of her. He forcefully removed her clothing despite her objection. He touched her body, including her breast and vagina, as she cried and told him to stop. This incident ended as Butler was attempting to take his underwear off to try to have sexual intercourse with her. LS knew Butler intended to have sex with her because he made statements like, quote, "I want to be inside you," and pushed his penis into her groin area. Butler's mother came to the door and inquired if everything was okay. LS believed this was because she heard LS crying and saying no. After this occurred, Butler and LS left Butler's residence to take her home. When Butler took LS home, he parked in the vicinity of LS' home, but he refused to take her to her house. Butler forced LS to remain in the vehicle with him for a period of approximately 2 hours and told her if she could told her she could not leave until she did what he wanted her to do. Given Butler's previous aggressive behavior with her and his ability to overpower her, Ellis was scared to try to exit the vehicle. Inside the vehicle, Butler grabbed Ellis' breast and rubbed her between her legs. He attempted to pull her on top of him, but she refused. He grabbed her hand and forced it onto his groin area, moving her hand back and forth. LS was able to exit Butler's vehicle after threatening to call her mother if he did not let her go. Butler also exited and followed her into her residence, where he continued with unwanted sexual advances. LS reported Butler eventually left her residence between 1:30 and 2:30 in the morning after receiving a text from his sister to come home. It gets even worse. In February of 2024, Butler and LS were parked in her vehicle at the Hampton Inn & Suites parking lot. Butler instructed LS to get in the back seat with one of the back seats laid down. He removed her pants and underwear against her will. LS said she did not want him to touch her, but he put his fingers inside her vagina. LS told Butler to stop and that he was hurting her badly. LS reported Butler told her he was not going to stop until he got 3 fingers inside of her, which he did. LS moved around and tried to get him to stop, but he refused, and she was scared of him and could not overpower him. When LS got home afterwards, she went in the bathroom and she was bleeding from her vagina. February of 2024 reported multiple incidents where LS said Butler, quote, fingered her against her will while in their vehicles in the Brahms parking lot. On one occasion, LS' sibling was with them, and Butler sent the sibling inside with his debit card to get something to eat so he could touch her. LS said she reportedly bled from her vagina on this occasion. On another occasion, Butler forcefully digitally penetrated her. LS' battery to her vehicle died, and her father had to come jump start it afterward. Then on or about February 29th of 2024, LS reported she was, get this, strangled to the point of unconsciousness by Jessie Butler. This occurred inside her vehicle in the Walmart parking lot. LS reported Butler strangled her after she would not participate in sexual acts with him. Prior to strangling her, Butler touched her breast and other parts of her body under and over her clothing. He pinned her down inside her vehicle and he straddled her with one hand on her neck and one hand pinning her hands down over her head. LS was scared and crying. She told Butler no, but he did not listen. LS reported she was hyperventilating and then recalled her vision being blurry and she was dizzy. She reported her head immediately hurt and she was confused about what occurred. She said she was scared of Butler, but when she regained consciousness, Butler was laughing at her. Following this incident, LS reported she had a handprint and injury on her neck. In addition to these specific occasions, LS reported Jessie Butler would regularly slap her legs or squeeze her legs very hard. She reported it would hurt and it resulted in a lot of bruises on her legs from Butler. LS had taken a few photographs of the bruises on her legs and on her neck with her phone. However, Butler regularly went through her phone, so she was afraid to document them in that manner. Following the forensic interview, LS was seen by Brandy Watts, who is a sane nurse. This is someone that almost like checks you for rape, etc. During the investigation, LS provided Watts with a similar account of the incidents detailed in the forensic interview. She also reported to Watts that she had urinated on herself when Butler strangled her. Since the incident, she's experienced times of substantial swelling as observed by Watts through photographs provided by LS' parent and discomfort in her neck, which she may not have experienced absent of the strangulation. Through her examination, Watts found LS had been a victim of sexual and physical abuse. In the incidents involving LS, Jessie Butler demonstrated escalating physical and sexual violence as their relationship progressed over the term of approximately 2 months, y'all. All this within 2 months. Additionally, the Stillwater Police Department took another report of incidents reported by a second female juvenile in which Jessie Butler utilized threat, fear, intimidation, and physical force to make her perform sexual acts. And we'll get into her, what she says about all this in just a second. Based upon his birth date, Jessie Mack Butler was 17 years old at the times the crimes were committed. And it's signed. And let's get into victim number 2 in that warrant, and she's known as KS. So it starts off, following the initial report, I was assigned as the investigator to follow up on this case. During a forensic interview on September 25th of 2024, KS detailed the first incident of physical abuse by Jessie Butler. This occurred on April 22nd of 2024 at Sonic in Stillwater. On this occasion, Jessie Butler reportedly attempted to pull her pants down and touch her as they sat on the bed of his pickup truck at the drive-in restaurant. She told Butler no, but he continued to grab and slap her butt and touch her breast. Butler became angry, grabbed her arm, spun her around, and threw her on the ground. The action left scratches on her arms when Butler laughed about it. The incident demonstrated to KS that Butler would use physical force against her if she did not comply with his sexual demands. KS reported she engaged in sex with Jessie Butler throughout the term of their relationship and did so to prevent physical aggression from him. When KS told Butler he was hurting her, he said he did not care and would not stop. Because of his aggressiveness, she was scared to tell him to stop. She expressed she was scared to not do what he wanted because of how physically violent he had been with her. KS reported Butler had left bruises on her hips from squeezing her so tightly. KS reported the intercourse was extremely aggressive, but she reported she quickly stopped fighting it because Butler would overpower her and hurt her to get his way. Does that sound familiar from the first victim? KS explained she learned what to do and not to do to avoid being hurt by Butler. According to KS, Butler would pin her down and she was physically unable to get him off of her. KS stated this would often lead her to hyperventilate, which Butler would find funny. KS described an occasion in July of 2024 in which she house sat for a family friend. The dates she stated the residents were July 27th of 2024 through August 3rd of 2024 in Stillwater. While she was at the residence, Jessie Butler came to the house. Butler expressed a desire to have sexual intercourse with her at the home. KS reported she did not want to do anything at the house. Butler became angry, came up behind her, put his arm around her neck, and strangled her unconscious. She could not breathe. He scratched at her arms and tried to get away, but could not free herself. She woke up on the floor of the living room after losing consciousness. KS reported there were red marks across her neck after Butler strangled her. Approximately 15 minutes after strangling her, Butler initiated sexual intercourse with her. Butler had sexual intercourse 3 or 4 times on this date. KS complied out of fear that he would strangle her again or hurt her. KS reported Butler strangled her on a second occasion during that week. She complied with him out of fear. KS stated Butler told her he wanted to strangle her so he could film it on his phone. And of course, there are people out there, they have these kinks with strangulation. And, you know, as you get older, of course, I guess kids this age do it too, but some adults are into strangling or getting strangled while they're having sex. Y'all know, y'all seen that stuff. But in this case, she's saying she complied out of fear of him hurting her if she didn't. KS stated Butler told her he wanted to strangle her so he could film it on his phone. Butler got on top of KS to watch her pass out. Get this, he set up his phone to record it so he could watch it later. KS lost consciousness on this occasion as well. During the investigation, I obtained a search warrant for the cell device belonging to Jessie Butler. The cell phone was downloaded to review the contents of the phone. I located a video with the date and time stamp of what she reported, in which Jessie Butler can be seen strangling KS until unconsciousness. So for those out there that say, oh, these girls are just piling on and full of shit, there's your proof. They're telling the fucking truth. This was the time frame, and he lists that reported, and it matched her story, essentially. According to KS, Butler often gave her hickeys and bit her breast, which both left marks. KS provided a photograph of a hickey during the investigation. The hickey seemed to be on the left side of her neck. It was red, purple in color. KS reported Butler gave her the hickey during the week she house sat. KS reported Butler wanted to have sexual intercourse every day. She described feeling coerced to comply to avoid being hurt. In addition to the sexual intercourse, KS reported Butler forced her to perform oral sex on him. He forcefully grabbed her head and pushed it down onto his penis. Once his penis was in her mouth, he forcefully moved her head up and down in a way that she had no control over her own head. KS reported Butler maintained her mouth on his penis until he ejaculated and forced her to swallow his semen. These are young girls, y'all. Young. KS stated because of the violent aggression towards her, she did not attempt to fight him. KS did not provide specific dates or locations for these occasions, stating it was a frequent and regular occurrence throughout their 6-month relationship from March to September of 2024. In addition to the forced sex, KS reported Butler also aggressively digitally penetrated her. On one specific occasion, she reported that after golfing at the Stillwater Country Club, Butler fingered her so aggressively it caused her to bleed. KS stated, no matter what I told him, it did not change his mind. She described holding her skirt, trying to prevent him from accessing her vagina. Butler forcefully pulled her skirt down and put his fingers in her vagina. KS described Butler as jamming his fingers inside of her. She reported she began to bleed, which Butler verbally shamed her for. KS also stated this incident occurred in the Walmart parking lot in August of 2024, and she reported there were multiple occasions when he would digitally penetrate her to the point that she bled. During this investigation, the Payne County Sheriff's Office gave permission for the Stillwater Police Department to investigate the incident which occurred in Payne County. Due to the other crimes occurring within the Stillwater Police Department, another jurisdiction, this is also the second investigation of Jessie Butler in 2024 concerning similar crimes of this nature. The other victim is a female victim who Butler was in a romantic relationship with, and of course I gave you the information on her. A total fucking rapist here. It's disgusting. So let me give you a little bit about this kid. Look, I don't usually bring the parents into the cases because, for example, in this case, just because your kid is a piece of shit doesn't necessarily mean you are. That's not the case all times. Some parents do the best they can do. Or it certainly doesn't mean the actions are always your fault. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. And I'm not saying this is even the case here, that, you know, these aren't good parents and this kid is just a piece of shit. But I think it matters a little bit in this case. I'm going to get into that and make that clear for you in just a minute. But I think it matters related to the sentencing that this kid received. But for now, what really played a role was his parents' standing in the community. His dad, Mack Butler, is the former Oklahoma State University Director of Football Operations. Big deal. Oklahoma State, a big-time football university. And remember, these incidents took place in Stillwater, Oklahoma, which is home to Oklahoma State. Now, in addition to that, his mother and possibly his sister, not 100% sure on that, still work at Oklahoma State University. So they're a very well-connected family, to say the least. And these charges, a total of 10, they come with some serious jail time. Now, Jesse, at the time of his arrest, was facing 78 years in prison. So look, I say it all the time, but the worst of the worst serial killers, they have someone somewhere who loves them. Somebody somewhere, and it's usually mom and dad. So I don't begrudge somebody for loving their child regardless of what they do and wanting to protect them. But using their influence to get this kid out of trouble after these type of charges, this wasn't shoplifting, yeah, I'd have a problem with that. So when Jesse was arrested, this became apparent to me. The police released body cam footage, okay? And what you're about to hear is shocking, in my opinion. You're going to hear this mom. Well, I'll tell you what. Just listen to this, and then I will discuss it. And I want to mention, before I play this clip, that when the body cam actually starts, Jesse's mom had already talked to the police outside of the residence, and she was informed of the charges against Jesse. So she knew he had 10 rape-related charges. She knew this was very serious shit. Jesse, at this time, was inside the home. So she goes to get him out. She knocks on the door. Jesse opens the door, and she says, "Come outside. The police need to talk to you." And the police are following behind her. So listen to this.
We're ready to obviously tell our story too.
Yeah.
Jess, it's Mom. Open the door. It's me.
And if you'll just have him step out.
Okay. Give me your wallet and phone and stuff. So, okay. Your what?
They're in the car.
Well, okay, it's fine. It's not locked or anything, is it? Okay. So, can you tell him what you just told me, or?
Yeah. So we're here. We're obviously going to place you under arrest. There's a warrant for your arrest. We're going to take you to the jail. I told your mom that she can contact a bondsman, and you shouldn't be there very long. But there just is a process for paperwork and stuff. But right now you do have to come with us, and I do have to put you in handcuffs. So turn around for me.
You have to put him in handcuffs?
Just violent arrest anytime we transport somebody in custody.
How about you? You know we're going to win this. It's okay. Do you have a...
Yeah, Chucky.
Yeah. I'll get you out. For me? Alright, stay silent. Rick knows about this. Candy's on this. Dad's on his way. We're coming to get you, okay? Stay strong, okay? Say your prayers.
Okay. So he's going to go right to the city of Stillwater jail, and if you'll just contact her, then she does this all the time. She knows what to do.
Yeah.
Make sure
Okay.
she knows Stillwater Police Department, not county.
Stillwater Police Department.
Yeah.
On Lewis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let them know
perfect.
that we're the ones that picked him up.
And
They
when
don't-
you say we are the ones.
Stillwater PD.
Stillwater PD.
Yeah.
Okay.
That way they don't think he went like straight over and he's over at the county.
Awful experience for a child.
I'm gonna pat you down and spread your feet for me. Nothing in your socks.
That's Jess. See you in a bit.
So some of the things you heard, and incidentally, I will upload this actual video, this body cam video, to the Patreon for national and global celebrities so you can see the mannerisms. They're very important between mom and son in this case. I mean, they are very telling. But I'm going to do my best to describe the important stuff here. Now, the key things that stood out to me as far as the verbiage. First, the mom says, quote, "You have to put him in handcuffs." Now, you've heard the charges, and so did Mom. And she acts like she's shocked because her kid's getting put in handcuffs for these rapes. Second, the mom says, quote, "You know we are going to win this." She also says, quote, "I'll get you out." She says, quote, "Dad's on the way." And the kicker for me was as they're walking Jesse to the police car, his mom says, quote, "What a horrible experience for a child." And if I'm not mistaken, y'all, at this point in time, he's not a child. He's 18. Now, when the incidents occurred, he was 17. But if I'm not mistaken, he had turned 18 by the time he was arrested. But how about that? You have what I just described you from two different victims, and the mother says, quote, "What a horrible experience for a child." You reckon this kid was entitled much? I mean, this kid's charged with rape and a slew of other shit. He's 18, or at least almost 18 at the time, and his mother's talking to him like he's 12 and he's getting railroaded. And the kid's standing there, and y'all, he is a big guy, bigger than the cops arresting him, 215 pounds and like 6 feet. And to me, he looks entitled as fuck. So he goes to jail and he's charged as an adult with all of these counts involving these two girls, all felonies. And then it gets really crazy. So this case started in March. Now, by August, Jesse was pleading, and that's really fast. I'm going to give you the result in my opinion on it. So initially, he pleads not guilty at his arraignment. Nothing to lose, right? You get arraigned, you plead not guilty, you get bailed out, etc. But it didn't take long for his attorneys, I would imagine, to realize this kid is screwed. And the prosecution has a ton of evidence. But the judge in this case, her name is Susan Worthington. She reclassifies this kid from being charged as an adult to being charged as a juvenile. And there was no major announcement where the media came out and said, "You're not going to believe this, but they're going to actually charge this kid as a juvenile." None of that. This was kind of done behind the scenes. Now, the important thing here is being charged as a juvenile qualifies this person for what's known as the youthful offender program in that state. Well, upon this new classification, this now 18-year-old, he pleads no contest to these 10 felonies. And get ready for this shit. He is sentenced to 78 years in prison, all suspended every last day. What he gets in reality is community service, 150 hours of that, nothing, a social media ban, and at the age of 19, which he's almost 19 now, at the age of 19, he can have the entire ordeal expunged from his record completely. Also, the records, because he's a juvenile, are now sealed. I mean, what the hell kind of message are we sending to young victims here? You wonder why rape is the most underreported crime there is? That's why. What message did you send to these two brave young ladies that spoke out? And I read you their arrest interviews, the interviews they gave that led to this arrest. Do you know how hard that probably was for these girls to fucking talk about? One of them was strangled to the point she had to have surgery. And this asshole never served a day in jail. If you are not infuriated about that, I don't know what's wrong with you. Unbelievable. But let me get to this, because before Jessie was sentenced, you have what's called victim impact statements. I'm only going to read you one, but I want to read it to you because it's important to remember this is before. These victim impact statements are read before the sentence is actually issued by the judge. And part of that reason is so the judge can take into account the victims. Listen to this teenager in her victim impact statement. I will never forget the night you strangled me unconscious because I said no. That moment changed my life. A medical professional later told me I was just 30 seconds away from dying. 30 seconds. If you had kept your hands on my neck just a little longer, I wouldn't be standing here today. That wasn't just a scare. It was a near-death experience. You didn't just hurt me, you nearly killed me. And because of that one act of violence, I had to have surgery on my neck. The damage you caused wasn't invisible and it wasn't temporary. The pain lingered for months. And now the scar is something I'll carry for the rest of my life. A permanent reminder of what you did to me. I will never forget Marble Slab when you pinned me down, touched my body without my permission while I begged you to stop. I screamed no over and over and you ignored it. I will never forget what it felt like when you pinned me inside your truck and said, "You're not going anywhere until I finish." Like I was just something to be used. You didn't just hurt me physically. You took pieces of my safety, my peace, and my sense of who I was. What you did wasn't just violence. It was betrayal, fear, shame, humiliation, and pain layered over and over and over and over again. You told me that if I ever told anyone what you were doing, you would kill me. You would kill my family. I hope that one day you actually face what you've done, not just get punished, but really face it. Every time you ignore my no, every time you force yourself on me, every time you laughed while I cried, I hope you understand how much it haunts me. That from the victim, and this fucking judge issued that sentence after not only hearing that statement, but several others that were very similar. So sad. And it's also important to note this guy does not have to register on the sex offender registry either. And in my opinion, rapists on this level, if he's this age doing this shit right now, rapists on this level cannot be rehabilitated. I said what I said. That's a sickness. You need to be in a hospital somewhere for the rest of your life or jail for the rest of your life. You certainly don't need to be on the street because this is going to get worse. And I predict, and I have no direct evidence of this, and this is my opinion and my opinion only, but I predict that one day Jessie Butler, you're going to hear his name again, and it may be for something much worse. And you know what? That's all I have to say about that. What do you think? What are your thoughts on this case? This guy, we need to blow his ass up. Just because he's out of jail, we need to blow his ass up and let everybody know what occurred in this case. So make sure you share this podcast with as many people as possible. I don't ask you to do that much, but I'm going to ask you to do that with this one. And if you think you heard something wild today, wait till the next episode I bring you another case that is going to blow your mind from Louisiana And we'll talk about that one next week. I want to thank you so much for listening. Check out the Patreon, commercial-free early releases, bonus episodes, and more. And I'm going to drop some major files on this case. Matter of fact, I'm going to drop a 52-page file that I'm going to let you look for or look through on the Patreon page for subscribers. And until next time, for exposed, scandalous files of the elite, I'm your host, Jim Chapman. Much love.